The new version 2.8 special program just dropped for Genshin Impact, and there is a lot coming to the game. So here I am to break it down for you. When Tenryo commissioned detective Shikanoin Heisu was first released on Hoyoverse's Twitter, people were not interested in him or his design. But even if you aren't his biggest fan, the concept of Heisu's abilities is very promising for the variety of characters that could be released in the future. Heisu is a brawler, the very first in Genshin Impact. By the looks of things, he'll either be a main DPS or a sub DPS to create swell reactions. But what is really interesting is that Heisu is an Anemo Catalyst wielder, meaning that players won't have to pull for a new weapon type to use him. In my DPS Barbara video, I covered a lot of the issues that Catalyst users have when it comes to playing DPS. They have a high stamina consumption with long animations for charged attacks. Heisu doesn't seem to have any of those problems. Looking at his elemental skill, it reminds me a lot of the Anemo Travelers, with the option to either tap it to unleash a quick attack, or hold it. Now holding Heisu's elemental skill for a certain amount of time will give him something called declension stacks. The more stacks you have, the more damage it would deal, and it looks like the maximum amount of stacks you can have is 4. However, holding the skill leaves you quite vulnerable to an enemy attack, so it would be cool if the damage numbers on this were high, sort of like a high risk, high reward type of thing. Also, it didn't explicitly say it on the livestream, but I'm guessing that the cooldown of his elemental skill will be longer if you hold it down rather than tapping it. Moving on to Heisu's burst, and honestly, it's nothing too special. Heisu leaps up from the ground and releases an AoE Anemo kick. The only thing that I will note that is cool about his burst is that if it hits an opponent that is currently affected by a certain elemental type, a second load of damage is dealt in that elemental type. You can see here in the trailer that after this second lot of damage is dealt by Heisu's burst, the Hilichurls are still affected by Hydro. This should be good for continuing to damage opponents without the need to switch out to a character like Xingqiu or Zhangling to reapply elements. The only question I have about the burst is that if it hits opponents that are affected by different elements, how does it decide which element the second wave of damage is? Finally, his passive decreases sprinting stamina consumption, which will make him a great option for exploration teams. Overall, Heisu looks like a very promising character, and honestly, quite a lot of fun. The Golden Archipelago is coming back in the Genshin Impact 2.8 update, which means that many players, like myself, will be able to explore the islands for the very first time. They now feature a quest where you explore with Fischl, Mona, Kazuha, and Xinyan. I have the habit of skipping through the text during these quests, but with the idea of Fischl's delusion of being a princess promoted at the forefront of the trailer, I have the hope that Hoyoverse will continue their trend of writing engaging storylines like they have been doing recently. People have been predicting a Kazuha rerun for months now, and finally the Swordsman gets his time to shine. He'll be having his banner in the first phase of the 2.8 update along with Klee, and Joymir will be having her rerun in the second half of 2.8. We know for certain that Heisu will be on the Phase 1 banner, and based on the trailers, my guess is that he'll be joined by Fischl and Xinyan. I'll make a video giving my opinions on each of these 5 stars and whether you should pull them or not soon, so stay tuned for that. Okay, let's go rapid fire through the events. Summertime Odyssey. This is a pretty standard Genshin event. Beat the enemies to progress with the help of little mechanisms that give different little effects. There is also a sailing game mode where the player has to get to the end as fast as possible, using the green orbs to speed themselves up. Reminiscent Regimen. Convoy is sort of like a protection game mode, where you protect a vessel as you bash your way through barriers to progress. Raid is a challenge in which you battle against another opponent. You start off in ships, and you have to travel through all the checkpoints. After doing that, collect as many coins as you can. Descent sees the player slowly climb down multiple platforms and collect more coins than your opponent. Events are always a nice way to get primo gems for any characters you're interested in pulling, and better yet, meeting certain requirements allows you to get Fischl for free. Even if you already have her, Fischl is a character that benefits greatly from her constellations, so I would advise picking her up if you can. Just as the livestream was wrapping up, one final trailer played, and we got our very first look at Sumeru. People were debating whether or not it was based on Africa or the Middle East, and I personally believe that is based on the latter, as the temples that are shown in the trailer are quite similar to the ones found in places like India. I don't have too much to say about this trailer. except that I really love the direction that the team at Hoyoverse decided to go for the music. Everything that we have heard in Genshin to this point has been quite lackluster in terms of drums, so it's good to hear that there is going to be a bit more variety in the soundtrack. My hopes is that the Genshin Impact soundtrack will be similar to that of Sonic Unleashed's, with a huge variety of music from different genres to represent each country. Finally, I suspect that the girl talking to us at the start of the trailer is also the Archon of Sumeru, as she sounds quite childlike and the statues of the Seven also look like a child. Hoyoverse didn't reveal too much about Sumeru, so I suspect that it may not be releasing until 2.9, but who knows? Here are some other small things that are also coming in the update. Number 1. Kazuha is getting his own story quest and Heisu is getting a hangout event. Number 2. Diluc is getting a really cool night skin. Too bad that you have to pay for it and that your money can be spent in better places. Number 3. There's another OST. Number 4. More redemption codes. I'll put them in the description and hopefully they haven't expired by the time this video releases, although I'm pretty sure they would have. So those are all the changes coming to Genshin Impact in 2.8. I honestly think that this new update looks really good, but I'm curious to know what you guys think of it in the comments. I'll be releasing a Kuki Shinobu review next week, so be sure to be on the lookout for that. As always, if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you lads next time. Cheers.